Hey everybody, this is Dr. R. Byman, and we're with Mike, who has been a patient of ours now for a couple of years. And we were just kind of rehashing what brought you into the office and the amazing changes that you experienced. And we said, let's bring this to the community because there's so many people out there looking at our practice, not sure if this is right for them. So why don't you tell the listeners what originally caused you to call the office?
Woke up one morning, out of the blue, perfectly healthy, owned the landscape business for about 40 years, and never ever had any symptoms like this. But woke up, stepped out of bed, and almost fell over, completely dizzy, nauseous, saying, "What's going on? What do I have?" It was just crazy. Kind of muscled through that day, but at the end of the day, my wife said, "Gotta get you to a doctor." Went to a doctor, and my regular doctor, and she says, "You got vertigo. Everybody's got vertigo. Take meclizine, you'll be fine." Taking meclizine, getting worse. Every day a little bit worse. More nauseous, can't eat, can't hold food down. Ringing in the ears, tremendous. That was the worst part about it. My ears were just screaming to the point where I couldn't even sleep at night.
Wow.
And this went on, and then 2 weeks later, went back to him, and he goes, sometimes it lasts a little bit. Let's take a CAT scan. They do a CAT scan. They did some MRIs. They said that I need to go see a neurologist because there's got to be something going on in there. One doctor actually in the emergency room said there's so many forms of brain cancer that we can't diagnose them all in like this. You need to really see a neurologist. That was right around now Christmas, so everybody was booked up. Everybody was crazy and couldn't get anyone to see us till after New Year's.
And he's dropped the cancer
bomb, and obviously anxiety went through the roof. I never had anxiety in my life, but now you start thinking the worst. Is this really going to happen to me? You hear about it all the time, and again, I've been the guy that worked out his whole life, ate healthy, never smoked, and this is how I'm going out. So it was tough. So there were a lot of sleepless nights, and Ro, who you met, my wife, who's stuck by me through all of this craziness. We're very religious, and she said some praying, and the night she really did some serious praying, she found you on the internet, and you were looking right in the screen and said, "Do you have ringing in the ears, tinnitus? Are you dizzy? Are you nauseous?" She said it was heaven sent. We called you that night and talked to you personally.
So just so the listeners know, it was a snow day.
Yes.
And I always come into the office.
Yep.
And I was the only one here, and I picked up the phone that day.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then you asked to speak to me. And I got on the phone. Again, that's so rare. The doctors never get on the phone. It takes 12 nurses just to get to that point in 3 weeks. And you did, and you saw us the next day. And we came in, and you interviewed me, you took an x-ray. You said, let's give me a day, and I'll have this all put together for you. We came back the next day, and you said, did you carry bags of concrete on your right shoulder, 50-pound bags of concrete, and walk with them? And I said, no, I usually took 2 50-pound bags of concrete. And you gave me a full exam, you laid me down on the table, and you barely touched my neck, and I started crying. I did. And my wife thought you hurt me. She goes, oh my God, what's going on? I go, it was so emotional because for the first time in 3 months, my ears shut off. And I mean that. They shut off. And I was to the point where the ringing was so bad that I couldn't take it anymore. I was going out of my mind. And it shut off. And you said to me, you said, don't get ahead of yourself. This is not going to be instantaneous. This is going to be some time, but I promise you, I'm going to get you to this point. And you did. And you said, walk to the bathroom. I got up and I walked a straight line. I couldn't walk without holding the wall. I was so dizzy and so nauseous. And it was short-lived. Matter of fact, I got in the car, got home that night, and I had all the symptoms again. But I saw you the next day. And every day, a little bit more and a little bit more, and it was pretty intense. And it was overwhelming. It was, and I think that's obviously was the whole thing. It was just overwhelming.
And so fast forward, you went from being out of work, just so everybody knows your function level and where it went back to.
It was within a couple of weeks. It was the winter months, so it was quiet time for me. So my guys handled the snow plowing, and I didn't have to really do anything but run the business, and again, with the help of my wife. And then the spring came around, and I was going out to jobs, and I was measuring, and I was bending over, and there'd be times that the symptoms came back, and I knew that I needed to see you, and as we call it, an adjustment and whatnot. And little by little by little, I was back in the gym. I was back to work with no problems, pushing wheelbarrows, carrying those bags of concrete, but not on my right shoulder like I used to. And yeah, and here we are, and I know that I owe it all to you. There's no doubt.
And what we can't measure is where you'd be today if you didn't find out about upper cervical.
Rewind, the neurologist gave me a pill that told me to take this, and I said, well, what is it for? My wife and I in his office, and he said, well, let's put it this way, his exact words. This is gonna trick your brain to make you think you're walking straight.
Oh my God.
So what you said to me was, he was only treating the symptom, not the problem. And you treat the problem, not the symptom. And I'll never forget that. And I've said that to 1,000 people. And I've brought, patients here, friends of mine,
family,
clients of mine, family, of course. And they've all come back and legitimately thanked me. And I go, don't thank me, thank Larry. And it's the truth. And when I recommend you, I have to say it, I do it wholeheartedly. I think you're one of the real deals in the world. And you get older, I just turned 60, so you get a little cynical, you get a little bit tainted with the world, and you say there's not a lot of people really like that out there, but you are the real deal.
Well, I appreciate your kind words, and more than that, I appreciate your willingness to tell your story so we can help impact more people that are out there and suffering, so thank you.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure.